Hi guys. so, um, I just got off work not that long ago. Um, I went and dropped off my ballot, voted for the first time this year. God, my skin's greasy. And about to hit the gym. But I had an experience today, and I wanted to stop in and do a quick story time with you guys before I go in the gym. You guys know it's part of the routine. So, um, today I'm gonna tell you guys about my experience with Paul Mitchell, the school. So, I guess for those of you who don't know me, my name is Benjamin Bright, and I'm a licensed cosmetologist in the state of Colorado. So, going to the beginning, my battery's at 15%, so I'm going to make this pretty quick. So, going to the beginning, I had just gotten released from jail. Um, I think I did 8 months in county jail. Yeah, I did 8 months in county jail. And I first off, I've always known I was gonna do hair ever since I was a little ass kid. Since I was like 12 years old, I knew I was gonna do hair. I have a lot of sisters and I have a lot of siblings, but my sisters and my mom are the ones in particular who kind of inspired me to want to do hair. Because I remember growing up and always seeing like my mom and my sisters, anytime they came back from a salon, they were in tears because of the bad experiences they had. And I was like, fuck that. I'm gonna change that shit. Like, so whatever, okay? So I just gotten out of county jail. I did 8 months, and when I got out, I had anxiety because I knew I was gonna get out and go back into the same living situation that I had gotten out of, that I was in prior to going to jail, which was being surrounded by drug addicts, living with my dad, who me and him didn't have the best relationship growing up. Um, and so I was going back into a very toxic situation. And so, of course, I get out of jail and I go apply to get in school at Paul Mitchell the school. And they're like, okay, it's going to be a couple months, but yeah, you do your financial aid and blah, blah, blah. And so within the first couple days, I do that, and then I go get a job. And I knew of this telemarketing place called Graven, Austin, and Drake. And I, they hire everybody on the spot. But it's one of those jobs where you got to meet a quota. And if you don't meet your quota every day, like, you're fucking gone. They send you home and eventually they'll fire you. And so whatever, I was just like determined. So I get hired at this place. Um and so from there I'm working this place from where I was living. I would take two, let's see, one, two, I would take 3 buses to get to work every morning. Um and so every morning, I'd get up, I'd take 3 buses, I'd get ready, I'd take 3 buses all the way to work. I'd work from I think 8 to 2, and from there I would get off work. I'd go wait on the bus again, take 3 more buses back downtown, and then from downtown, the bus terminal, I would walk, carrying my little Paul Mitchell case with full of all my hair supplies, my backpack, my lunch, all my shit, everything with me, and I'd walk to the school, which was one, two, three, like 4 blocks, four, city blocks, whatever. It was maybe a mile, about a mile. And then I'd go to school. And from there, I would usually catch a ride from somebody if I could, or I would sometimes walk. Like, just depends. Usually, a lot of the time, I was able to get a ride though. And so immediately, like, I knew from my very first day going to Paul Mitchell, I knew I was gonna I knew I was gonna graduate. I knew I was gonna succeed, despite like I walked in those doors and I knew nothing was gonna stop me, and so I was super determined. And so I, from the very first day, was the student like who tried to take advantage of every opportunity I had. I just threw myself into the whole everything head first. And so God, my leg itches. Sorry, guys. Um, my first few weeks in beauty school, it was crazy because I was living with my mom, I think, at this time. And I, um, well, no, first I was living with my dad. Um, but, there's a lot of people actively using where my dad was living. And so I had just gotten tired of it. And so I end up moving in with my mom. And so my first few weeks of beauty school, I would learn like, your basic haircuts and just basic shit, the basic stuff they teach you in beauty school. And I remember like my mom, when I first started beauty school, my mom has ridiculous amount of hair. Like her ponytail, when it's all in a ponytail, is like fucking fat. It's like my wrist fat, like so much hair. And not just that, but it's fucking jet black. Like if you're a hairstylist, my mom has level 1 hair. Um and so she has a high density, she has level 1 hair, and it's extremely coarse. Like her individual strand is legit like guitar string. Um so my mom has and it was super long, like it was the hardest hair to work on. And so I'd come home and I'd learn something at school, and I'd go home and my mom would be like, "How was your night? What'd you learn? Blah blah blah." And I'd tell her, and my mom, I love her so much. She always supported me so much. She'd be like, "Okay, practice it on me." And in the beginning, I'd be scared as fuck. Like, "No, I can't do it. I can't. I'm not ready." And she was like, "You know what? Nobody knows how to work on my hair. And if you can learn to work with my hair, the hardest hair there is to work on, then it's going to set you up for success, because nothing else will compare to how hard my hair is." And it was true. And so my mom's hair was like mid thigh when I started beauty school. And by the time I graduated, it was hitting her shoulders. She sacrificed all of her hair just so I could learn. But I was so determined. I was so determined. I originally signed up for cosmetology. And so, I was so determined when I went to beauty school that I had 100% attendance the entire time. Um, my attendance was so good that toward the end of, my cosmetology training, financial aid pulled me in the office and they're like, "Hey Ben, you're a good student. We're really happy that you have 100% attendance, but we need you to miss school." And I'm like laughing, like, "Ha ha, yeah, right, I don't miss school." And they're like, "We're serious. Like, you have to miss school, dude." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" So pretty much, I guess the situation was, when they put your expected graduation date, they plan on you to be fucking normal and miss school a little bit, you know? Um, but I didn't. And so they're like, um, "You have to miss school, dude. You're moving through school too fast. And if you don't miss school, then we're not gonna end up getting our last check for your education." And so whatever, they forced me to take a week off. It was torture. I won't lie. But when I was probably in my last week of beauty school, one of the owners of the school, his name was Micah, he comes to me and I'm working on a client, and he's like, "Ben, you're about to graduate, dude. I'm really proud of you. What are your plans?" And I didn't have any plans. I hadn't looked at any salons. I was fucking scared. Colorado at this time was one of the states with the highest amount of hours needed. And even though we had so many hours that we needed to graduate, I still didn't feel ready. I was afraid. And so he's like, "What are your plans?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do." And so the owners of the school, Micah, own a salon. And I'm not going to disclose the name of the salon. But that salon, of course, because they own the school, like they get top pick of all the students. Like literally every student at that school wants to work for them. Of course they do. Um, and so honestly, I mean I had set a goal, but it was just to myself. Like I kept it to myself that I was gonna try to get in there. Like, but I never really spoke it out loud. I never really. I don't know if I just didn't believe that I would do it or that it would happen or what. So he approaches me and he's like, "We're so proud of you, blah blah blah. Um, you need to come. You got to come work for us." And Micah was a man who I maybe had a very little contact with. Like we rarely talked. He's a man of very few words, honestly. And so for him to approach me and offer me a job at his salon, of course, like I pissed my pants, man. I was so happy. And it was a huge deal, so I was like, fuck yeah, I want to come work for you. Hell yeah, I do. And so I graduate and immediately like they start training me and I'm going once a week, twice a week to go train at their salon. But because I'm a felon, it took me almost a year after grad. Even though I rushed through beauty school, like it took me almost a year to get licensed because of all the hoops I had to jump through just to prove like that I was turning my life around. And so during that fucking year, I was going insane. Micah, because I couldn't start working with no license at his salon, I they end up hiring me to work at the school. And originally, like they offered me a teaching position, but I was like, fuck no, like I'm not ready to teach. I want to go get some real world experience first. And so we compromised on me working at the front desk. And so I worked at the front desk not super long, maybe a few months. Um, and I trained at the salon. They also ended up giving me a full ride scholarship to go back through beauty school as a barber. And so not only did I graduate the cosmetology program and get licensed, I graduated the barbering program as well. And I went on to work at their salon. And I worked at their salon for I think maybe a couple years or something. Um, and yeah, I mean, a lot of you'll get mixed reviews. At least here in Colorado Springs, like you'll get mixed reviews on Paul Mitchell the school. And yes, it is expensive. It put me in a shit ton of debt. But what I will say is, I had the best time of my life in Paul Mitchell. I loved it. I loved everything about it. Um, I will say that you in beauty school, like you are gonna get what you put in out of it. As simple as that. I went in there like face tap felonies, drug history, like all of these things that have tried to stop me in my life. And I went in there, and I'm sure like a lot of people expected me to fail. Like nobody expected. I know a lot of people like if they didn't expect me to fail, like they wanted me to fail. And nobody thought I was gonna do this. And so it was my goal to myself to prove everybody wrong. Like I'm gonna fucking do this, and I'm gonna change, and I'm gonna be the one to break the cycle of my family. And so I have been working as a licensed professional like 4.5 years, almost 5 years now. And um, if you're considering beauty school, I will say like look at your options. Make sure that it's something that you really want. Make sure that if you're not 100% passionate about doing hair, and I didn't go for selfish reasons. Like yeah, I wanted to look cool and be a cool hairdresser, but that's not that's not what motivated me. What motivated me was just just making other people feel beautiful. You know, I love what I do so much because for me, I've always dealt with self-esteem issues and all these things, you know, like you look in the mirror and I tattooed my face 13 years ago, like, and I've had to live with that, you know. And it's one of these things like where I looked in the mirror for a long time and I didn't like what I saw. And especially, not that I didn't feel like I was good looking, but it was one of these internal things where I didn't feel good enough. Especially after I tattooed my face, so many people judge me and look down on me and just, yeah. And so for me to turn around and help somebody look in the mirror and feel good about what they see, for me, it's the most gratifying feeling in the world. It's what I live for. It's everything to me. I love doing hair. Um, excuse me. I am a Paul Mitchell professional, and my name is Benjamin Bright. I currently work at a salon called Solux Salon in Black Forest, Colorado, and well, it's Colorado Springs, but it's outskirts. Um, and I love it. I love my job, and I love what I do. And eventually, I'm gonna start posting some content of just everything that I learned, like real world experience, real salon reality shit. I feel like everybody wants to post all these things of how nice and perfect their work is, and I want to show you the real behind the scenes stuff. I want to show you guys all my fuck ups, all the stuff that I fucked up and fixed. And so, um, if you guys are interested in seeing stuff like that, like and subscribe. Um, I'm still figuring out how to use YouTube and social media and blah blah blah. But if you guys want to come along that journey with me, yeah, subscribe, I guess. Whatever. Um, that's it for now. Um, don't forget, match your bra with your panties. Get your shit straight.